Okay. Hopefully this works. Who knows? Yeah, I guess before we actually start, we should all introduce ourselves. I've played with two of you, so I will go first. I'll say names, pronouns, and favorite Jane Austen thing, or if you don't particularly feel like talking about your favorite Jane Austen thing, favorite weather. So I'm Maria, he, she, her pronouns. My favorite Jane Austen novel is Northanger Abbey because Gothic romance, reading too many books. That is like my favorite heroine. And favorite weather because I like both is give me like storms and rain and like drastic downpours, nothing like long and prolonged, just a lot at once. We'll go in the order of the square. So Nicole and Neil, do you want to go and introduce yourselves?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for letting me join your game halfway. I don't have very much role-playing experience, so I really appreciate it. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I love all things Jane Austen, and I'm super excited to see what this game is like, but I have to go with the classic Pride and Prejudice. And for weather, I love a good, cool, wet fall day. It's overcast with interesting colors and not too hot.
i.e. what's going on right now. Neil, he, him, also thank you very much for letting us join. I would say from a weather perspective, I like the, diurnal hours, the dawn or the evening, when things are changing and there's always some kind of portent kind of carried up in that moment. And I would say we were joking this morning about like some of the things about Jane Austen where we were talking about like the curse of the Dashwood family who just completely fail to properly judge people's character right and left, and it gets them into all kinds of trouble. So
The best kind of trouble.
Yeah.
Marley, let's have you next.
Hey, I'm Marley, she, her, hers, coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts. I've read a lot of Jane Austen, but one of the ones that I thought kind of stood out to me was the Sanditon version that I think was finished by Emma Thompson. She had a really nice wry wit in that one, which I really enjoyed. And my favorite weather is actually just a really nice, clear, sunny day. It's very basic, I know, but sunshine makes me happy.
I mean, I don't know what weather is like in winter in Boston, so maybe that's a good thing. Happy sunshine
right now
in
it's
your
storming,
life.
So it's not the greatest weather at the moment.
Okay, and then David.
Hi, yeah, I'm David. I use he, him pronouns. I have actually, I'm very bad. I haven't actually read any Jane Austen. Ironically, we focus when I was doing English lit at school was on 20th century American novels. So amongst the usual Shakespeare and the like. But yeah, but yeah, weather. I'm definitely. I like the sun when we get it. A nice, nice, warm, sunny, little bit of a breeze, not too much humidity. That's a perfect day for me.
Cool. Now we all know like two things about each other and about school systems. Okay, so this is being run through the Gauntlet Open Gaming Community Open Gaming weekend. I feel like I should have said this at the start, but I forgot. So what is the Gauntlet? It's an online gaming club that puts games up that focus on indie RPGs, story games, and the OSR. There's more information on gauntletrpg.com, but you probably all know that because you showed up here somehow. And we've done introductions, so I guess I'll get started. So I don't know if you all had a chance to look at the CATS document, which is concept, aim, tone, and safety. It is here. I'll put it in the chat just to briefly do like an overview of the game and kind of what we're going to be trying to do. So it is a Jane Austen inspired game. This particular playset is about going and looking at characters' relationships and emotions as kind of like on a more long-term game than other Good Society playsets, not expansions, the basic game. So our characters are going to be coming from different backgrounds. We have like humble origins or the clergy or new arrivals, and they're going to have different desires, but we're all going to be working together kind of from like an authorial level to try and create a story about how our characters kind of go through their lives. When we get started, we'll have a little bit more talk about what kind of tone and collaboration, what sort of our boundaries are going to be for the game. And let me see. And the other thing is we will be careful to make sure that everyone is consenting and enthusiastically so about the things that we put in this game. So Good Society is nice that it has built in like things we want to see and things we don't want to see. So things we don't want to see, we can talk about in our Lines and Veils tab. Things we want to see, we will talk about and be like, yes, we want to see gardens with hedge mages or whatever. And always we will have the X card available. So if anything comes up that you realize that you didn't realize at the start, but maybe just like in the moment you don't want it, you can just say that you want to not have that in the game, throw your hands up in an X, type in the chat, whatever. And you can also just leave for any reason. If like you need to go to the bathroom or you just something comes up, feel free to just leave. If you can let us know why, like not let us know why, but let us know if we should expect you back. That would be great. But you don't have to if that is not currently a thing that you can do. So that is that. All right. So this game is going to be an experiment because this is going to be a two-shot and we're going to see how much we can get through. My goal is to get through at least 2 cycles. And so that's like a certain number of novel chapters in our 2 games together. We will see how far we can go, but we will work to try and make it at least satisfying at the end, no matter what happens. All right. So I guess if you open our play document up, which is, I will just put it in chat because tabs are hard. The first tab, past intro, is collaboration. And this is the tab where we sort of set the palette for what we are going to be working with in the game. So first thing is, what tone should the story have? Good Society has the Emma version of Good Society has 3 tones. They're all nuances on drama. So there is Rain Soaked, which is kind of the middle ground, melancholy, soul searching, consumed beginning. Our desires are impossible dreams that duty and circumstances will not allow. We are our own worst enemies. A little bit sunnier is Sunlit, which is beautiful, wistful, and dreamy. We're striving towards something. And even though it's dark, there's always hope. Or Stormy, which is the one that I haven't actually played, which is the world is hostile and unkind and everything is dark, grim, passionate, and angry. So I was setting it as Rain Soaked because it's a nice middle ground. If anyone would like to make it more sunlit or stormy, please let us know. We will go whichever is the sunniest version that people desire.
I was actually interested, like, you've played Sunlit and it worked well?
I think the thing is with tones, there is like a drift.
Right.
So I have played Sunlit where it got really dark and sad, but then it got happy in the end. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm just interested but I'm happy with any of them.
Yeah, let's say Sunlit then. And then this way, even if things get sad, we know that we can work towards making it better for our characters. And if there's a dark, sad moment, there's a ladder that someone will throw into your hole. Okay. The other thing is, how long will the game span? So we're going to have a passage of time later on in the game, and our characters are going to age, and possibly if they're an older character, we might have to change characters. So the default is half a lifetime, which is probably a good option to stick with for a 2-shot, because it would be hard to get multiple generations unless we just had like a massive or time skip. People have feelings about this?
Yeah, that sounds like a sensible amount to me. If we're looking at likely two
Mhm.
cycle, and I'm assuming that'll go
Yeah.
between the two cycles. So yeah, it'll give us a chance to kind of do that longer,
It gets
long enough, but mostly keep
it gets
characters
us
the
about
same, I guess.
I think the recommended time skip length or length of the passage time is about 10 years with a half a lifetime game span. All right, we'll keep it there. The next question is, how important is historical accuracy? I've set this right now to a little important because we all come from different, like, remembering things about history levels. And since we have a limited amount of time, we don't want to spend all that time Wikipediaing very fast. So if you have a little bit more knowledge about what type of carriage wheels or various things, feel free to share that with the table. But I think just for all of our brain spaces, we'll keep it at a little important for now. So that's basically, we'll do the best job we can, but the story is more important than historical accuracy. History is fake. We can do what we want. All right. The next question is, how will we treat the gender power balance? It's currently at the standard Regency patriarchy. The other options are we turn gender balance off, or the gender power balance off. So that just means it's completely equal. Anyone can be in any sort of relationship with anyone else. Both genders can, or multiple genders can hold like different positions of power. The other option is that we switch the patriarchy and basically women have the power and men don't have the power, or just like switch that. What is talking? Yes, there's more details when you click through it. So
I mean, the in reverse would be cool if we knew the game. Like, I think that's a really fascinating to try. Sounds like it might be difficult for a 2-shot. I don't know, but
that we could say it is a sort of like a cognitive switch to do the in reverse. Would people be interested in keeping it off then, so we can just do whatever, or would we like to stick with the historical Regency patriarchy, which is like
I feel like there's a lot of relationship stuff in Austin, and I feel like it keeps options more open if, for example, same-sex marriage is allowed, which I understand is the off option.
We could do off, yeah.
So mild preference for that, but I'm happy to do whatever if anyone has a stronger opinion.
Yeah, I'm happy with either historical or off. I think, yeah, as I said, I think doing the gender switch one, that can be difficult to do well, I think. So I'd rather, either just not or, yeah.
Cool. We will keep it at off then. And then the next one is, I am going to say that how much hidden information will be used will be none. So we'll be open to talking about what our characters want and not keeping secrets from each other. They can keep secrets. Our characters in the fiction can keep secrets from each other, but we as players will be like trying to work together to make it as dramatic as possible. Okay. Now, is there anything our game should avoid? I have copied in a lines and veils tab just so that we have a little bit more granularity. So if you could go to the last tab of the character keeper, and just click through. So lines are things we won't include in the game at all. Veils are things that can be in the game, but we will draw a curtain over them so that they're not explicitly shown or talked about. Ask first is we'll ask, and enthusiastic consent is, do we really want to see these? So just go through the lines and veils, and when you are done, just type OK into the StreamYard chat.
So Nicole asked, what does body horror mean? I don't know if you have a specific definition.
I can Google it.
It is just, there's not really a specific definition. I guess like weird stuff happening with bodies, like, I don't know, the Annihilation movie is one that comes to mind.
Yeah, where people are transformed or disease or that kind of thing, or
like a more extreme kind of that.
Cronenberg type of body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Saw.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
It's unlikely it will happen in
Yeah.
a Jane Austen, but I put Cthulhu gods in here, or elder gods in here, because I feel like at one point I heard a story about someone just like bringing it up randomly in a game, and it's like, but why? Which you could if you're all on board with it and like prepared, but
So I see like classism is on
Mhm.
this. This just seems to be all about classism.
yeah, this is
And-
a generic lines and veils I just copied in here.
Gotcha. I would just, because to me, I'd almost say enthusiastic consent
Yeah.
of classism, because that seems to me like the core of, okay, what this is about in a lot of ways. So.
Kind of, yeah.
All right. Where do we type okay?
The StreamYard chat, or you can just say it. And again, this is something that can change. So if you want to add something as the game goes, just let me know in the chat or email me, or Discord or Slack or any of the numerous ways to get a hold of me.
I also wanted to give a heads up. In about a half an hour to an hour, my dog walker is going to come back with my dog. And
Okay.
I'll need about
All right.
5 minutes.
We will probably be engaged in creating characters then, so you probably will have like some space where it's like thinking time. All right, so that is what we don't want to see in the game, and I'll just briefly say this. So we will veil body horror, cannibalism, consensual sexual activity, endangerment of or harm to animals, wild animals, words. Okay. Veil on endangerment of or harm to wild animals, endangerment of harm to children, eye injuries, graphic injuries / gore, kink, police misconduct / brutality, racism, self-harm, suicide / suicidal ideation, and torture. We have lines on COVID-19 / pandemics, Cthulhu / elder gods, endangerment of / harm to domestic animals, homophobia, incest, seducing someone while disguised. I can't read, it's too early. Sexual assault / violence, slavery, and transphobia. And we have enthusiastic consent for classism, which I have played games where the enthusiastic consent is on strange things before. It's a weird sentence to say. Okay, now for the fun part. Is there anything we'd love to see in our game? So this can be things like, I would like to have confessions of love in the rain, or I would like to see parties with hidden alcoves, or things like that. So if you want to see it and I can type it, just so that we're not all in one box at one time, throw things that we want to see.
Well, there has to be some sort of ball or dance or something like that. I feel like it's not Jane Austen unless someone's like out there with the foofy dresses and the dance cards and stuff like
100%.
that.
80s. I forgot that.
I do want confessions of love in the rain. Any other? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm also here for the love and relationship and romance and courtship. Courtship should be a thing. It's like, I don't know if I need to say these things. I just sort of
So-
I mean,
Jane
this
Austen
way-
in my head. It's
This
like,
way
does it
we
need to
know
be
we're gonna
articulated?
like try and get them in there extra hard.
And when I say I say conspiracy, I'm not talking, Illuminati type of stuff, but I'm talking about the whole idea that there are people who are misrepresenting themselves, and we kind of have to figure that out. I like that aspect of I'm terrible with the names, but the soldier. In Pride and
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, Wickham, like in Wickham, that kind of
Yes.
thing. So
Or Willoughby.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I'm just gonna put people like those people.
Oh, here he is.
All right. Anything that you want to see, David?
No, I think that's mostly
right.
covered it. As I say, I think I think I have played Good Society before, and I think the things I really like to see will
All right.
will get.
Cool.
So yeah.
Let me wrap this because Google Sheets for some reason. Okay. Now let us go to the next tab, which is characters. So there are 5 options here. Ugh, I almost spilled my coffee. And these are all kind of, a character is a person with like a desire or relationship to the other characters and some sort of character role and family background. If you have feelings about a character, please pick one of these columns. I will pick last. I will be playing a character as well. Fight amongst yourselves. Duels can be a thing, but we want you to come back, so maybe not death duels. If you have questions about what a desire is, there is flavor text and more information about what they are. And because this is Emma, there is the immediate versus lifetime desire. So immediate desires are things you're going to work for in the immediate future, lifetime, stuff that you'll work for in the long term.
Let's do the best.
So we were looking at the second and third one. When it says, so it says secret fiancés of,
Yes.
not finances. So I'm just want to make sure.
Fiancés. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, back now.
Yay,
What are we doing?
We are doing character creation. So,
Yay.
or I guess character back. It's called backstory. So what we're doing is we're looking at the columns, deciding which character we're interested in playing, kind of looking at what desires we're interested in trying to work for. Then we'll develop relationships between the different characters. The immediate desires are things you'll work for in the immediate future, and lifetime desires are things that over the course of your life will be something you'll be considering.
Are these columns interchangeable, or are they already set up in certain ways and we're picking a column?
We're picking a column. If you really don't like the character role or background, we can change that. But this is like a play set.
Okay.
So we would vote for number 3, the secret fiance one, unless somebody else wants that.
That's fine by me.
Yeah. Are you collaboratively playing one character?
Yes. Yeah. We're just
I had not gathered that. Okay.
If that's okay.
I'm totally fine. Oh no, what am I doing to my screen? And the other thing too you can do if you want to like dip your toe into role playing without taking a lot of pressure words, is there will be connections that we'll be playing, which are like minor characters who sort of act to pressure the major characters. So Nicole, if you want to play, like, I don't know how you guys can decide how you're going to play one character, but you can also, maybe you want to play your connection or someone else's connection is one thing you could do if you decide you want more time.
Has the second column been taken yet? The ill-reputed new arrival?
Not that I know.
Okay. Bring it. That one's mine then, and there are no objections.
And if you could just like type your names into the player names box so we know who's got which column.
Okay.
They're all good fun.
Can you scroll down?
I'm trying. It's really awkward.
I am tempted by all of them, to be honest, actually thinking of it. But it's a tough one. Did you have any preferences, Maria?
Nope, I have not thought about which character I'm going to play because I get to facilitate and pick last.
Damn it.
Oh, you're playing too. Oh, cool.
I am.
Yes.
I think I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to go for the socialite clergy.
Nice. Wonderful. And I will be. I'll be the heir/new money. So okay. So let me just hide this column. Cool. Yes. So I think what we should do now is take some time to just like think a little bit about your character, get a little bit of sense of who they are, and then after 5-ish minutes, maybe we can start talking about relationships. Like, who would you like to be secret fiancés of? Who would you like to be under the patronage of? Let's take like 5 minutes or so to like think about the characters, write a little bit in like the description / further notes section. Like, what do they look like? It doesn't have to be a lot, just some things so you have an idea. And then we'll introduce the characters and then split apart or not split, but like divvy out relationships to each other. Does that sound good?
That's good.
And we can take more than 5 minutes. It can be whatever.
Oh no, okay. Got it.
And with this playset also, feel free to make your characters a range of ages. Let me read what the playset thing is. So this is a game where this playset explores characters connected by closest binding threads of love, family, and friendship who continue to push each other apart. So the characters can be a variety of ages and are likely to be in different life stages.
Are you using some sort of Jane Austen name generator, or are you all just really good at like channeling those names?
I just threw out 3 or 4, but Nicole just said Penelope, and then I was like, Penelope Rosewater. She's like, sounds good.
That's a
Okay,
great
I'll just
name.
Google a bit and come up with something.
All right. It looks like people have names and slight descriptions. So do we want to go and let's go around and introduce our characters? I'll go first, and then we'll go to the left of the character keeper. So I should actually fill in pronouns and age. Let's see. I am playing Sir Martin Ellersby. He uses he his pronouns and is 33 also. Immediate desire is to restore his reputation and be forgiven by a former friend. We will figure out what exactly I did to who exactly. Someone saved me, and so I must repay my debt. And basically, Martin will be rich and would like you to know it. He has a bit of a daredevil streak to him and likes to spend money and go do horse racing. But his father is trying to clamp down because he's getting up in age, and Martin really should be becoming more of a well-settled gentleman. And Martin does not particularly like this idea, but I suppose this is what father asks for. David, you are up next.
Sure thing. I am playing the Reverend Arthur Claythorpe. He is also 33. His immediate desire is to marry in such a way as to impress my patron and win their support. His lifetime desire is to protect his child from all ill and secure their future. And I will be creating a child as a mandatory connection. I am an old friend, an old flame with one major character and under the patronage of another. He is kind of a tall, gangly man, has curly red hair. He will be sort of the parish priest of wherever we are. He's known for sort of giving quite lively sermons, but in all honesty, prefers just being out in the countryside. He's an amateur naturalist, always sketching the local flora and fauna in notebooks. Very easily distracted. I think that's a very quick overview of Arthur.
All right.
Great.
Penelope.
Oh, sorry. So Penelope Rosewater, 26, and getting the pressure that she's a bit on the shelf. She's immediate desire is to marry her secret fiance. and long term to find a home or make one. And in our description, we kind of, that make one desire is to kind of be a schoolmistress and form her own school. And so our relationship, the secret fiance of another major character, but everybody else thinks we're just acquaintances. And then as described there, you know, she has these dreams of a position, and so she's a bit desperate on this secret fiance to help make that possible. Coming from humble origins, she doesn't have the finances or the connections without it. And I don't know, I actually hadn't really thought exactly what she looks like, so. I mean, I was seeing her as always presenting well-dressed, but somewhat outdated clothes. You know, she's always, they're well darned and well, you know, kept, but they're not the height of fashion in any stretch because she can't afford it. So, but I think that's Penelope.
That sounds awesome. And Harriet.
Right. I just realized I need 2 names for Harriet because Harriet is presenting in disguise. So she is quite wealthy and has been being nagged to marry for some time, but wants to marry for love and not for her wealth. She is tired of being courted for the advantages she brings. So she is embarking on this scheme where she has come to town and as this new person, you know, as the sort of down at heel noble who, you know, or rich person who like lost a bunch of money in gambling. So, you know, has all of the well-to-do connections, but none of the money. And this, she is entirely convinced, will solve all of her problems. She will find someone who will love her for who she is. This is obviously not actually a very great plan, but she is embarking on it with great enthusiasm and is entirely convinced it will work. We'll see if it does.
We shall see.
That's awesome.
All right.
There was a bit about feuds, which I was having some trouble working in. If anyone has ideas about that, or we could also just keep that in the back of our minds as we play, if that can add some richness to a scene.
Yeah, I think once we have like figured out more about our characters by giving each other relationships and maybe working through that, we can maybe a feud will pop up. Mm-hmm. So does anyone have any questions for any of the characters before we start trying to figure out who is related to who and how? All right. So with relationships, we'll try to not leave a character like stranded on an island without relationships to everyone else. So, but if you have any ideas right now, like of who you want your relationship to be with, please speak out. Or I don't have anything to go after that or.
Would you want? So completely, just because I love the description of, wait, which is the real name, Henrietta or Harriet?
Harriet is the real name. She is not terribly clever with her nom de plume, so she is showing up as Henrietta Stanford.
Wow.
So if we're playing with the whole patriarchy turned off thing, I mean, I love the concept of this, and it tends to play towards the drama that Penelope's secret fiance is Henriette or Harriet, or I'm totally confused already. But and her desire to not be for her money or courted or something, I have no idea. But that
Oh, maybe it is an elaborate test of her affections to make sure that she still loves her when she doesn't have money.
Ooh.
Though then at that point, I feel like disguise is less relevant.
Oh, that's true.
That's fine. The disguise was just a flavor bit. If we don't already have that connection.
You could, the two of you, or Harriet could be not disguised to Penelope, but everyone else might not know about her secret identity. Like, because maybe if the two of your secret fiancés, you've like revealed this, but everyone else still thinks that you are the poor one, which
I
is
can't stop laughing over the does not actually know how to pretend to be poor. I love it.
I mean, we don't have to go that way. I just think that drama.
No, I love the idea of her being a secret fiance. It's just a question of like how that works in with some of the other concepts. So yeah, this could in fact be all about Penelope, and this is like some sort of elaborate test. The final test to pass before proposal is that, do you still love me if you think I don't have money?
I love that.
Oh, I love it. So you're presenting, you've changed your name, but you've presented to Penelope as you have lost your money. And this is, you have to remake yourself. And
yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the extra name. I think she's pretending to be herself. I think she's also just pretending that like this terrible misfortune has befallen her.
Love it.
And to see that if Penelope is still true.
That's so good.
Okay, this is great. That's going to be a lot of fun.
So I have two relationships. So one of mine is that I am under the patronage of a major character. I guess it would make sense for that to be either Harriet or Sir Martin, it probably makes less sense for Penelope to be my patron. So if either of you are interested in that, that is cool. I'm happy either way.
I could be your patron. I am rich, or I will be rich, and this is a good, solid, wholesome thing for me to be doing that will make my father happy. That I am a patron of a clergyman.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
I need a former friend who I did a terrible thing to. That sort of ruined my reputation.
So probably wouldn't be Claythorpe if you're the patron.
Yeah, that would be a really awkward relationship, and then we'd have traded relationships, and we want to avoid that.
I mean, it could have been Penelope. I'm happy with that. I'm just trying to think. What do you think it would be? Or who defines what the terrible thing was?
I think we can both like figure that out. Sort of a collaborative thing. What if at one point I told Penelope that I would fund her school, but then did like lost a bunch of money gambling and had to call back, like break my promise to Penelope that I would fund the school, and so she has to go through this whole marriage.
So she was completely left bereft. I totally like it.
It was going to be like, yeah, I'll be your patron, and then it's like, actually, I have to spend all this money on a horse. So have fun finding some other money.
That could be like really desperate depending on the level you take it to. If like she'd already like signed a contract to a school or committed to a pay command
yeah.
of the transaction, and then Sir Martin backed out.
And that could
Yeah.
that may have been, because it says humble origins, like bad things happened. That could have been the thing that actually cast her into, you know,
Harriet's
financial,
arms.
you know, distress. Yeah, because she was like, I don't know how it works, you know, but basically, yeah, she had to like void this contract she'd already signed because she didn't have the money, and so now that
Sir Martin does not deserve his honorable service.
not so honorable, Mr. Martin.
Yeah. All right. Harriet, you have a relationship to give out.
Yes, I am best friends with someone. Who wants to be my best friend? Does anyone sound like a best friend kind of person for someone who is affable and not very sensible? Possibly her best friend does not reciprocate with quite the same enthusiasm. I would be fine with that too.
I mean, if we're getting this into a really twisted, because I see the last two are one's a best friend and one's an old flame with, and the idea that like Claythorpe is an old flame of Harriet's, and she is best friends with Ellersby, then completes this very labyrinthian spider web of relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, that would certainly work for me. I was saying I would be happy to be the best friend, but yeah, also the I've got the old flame there, so it's like I'd have that with either you or Penelope. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy for convoluted, complicated stuff. All right. So Arthur is my old flame, and Martin is my BFF. Sounds good.
I also like the idea of you know, Harriet and Sir Martin being this almost like, you know, Jeeves and Wooster, you know, Bertie and his old chum type.
Love it.
All right, so I got a little confused. So Harriet is Arthur's old flame.
Yep.
And my BFF. Yes, okay. Got it. All right. All right. Okay. So I have to create a rumor, but I can type that in. The next thing we will do is create a connection, which is a minor character, sort of. And it's the secondary character that we will be trading off, that we will be playing. And this is a character who has opinions about our major character, and who basically acts to put pressure on them or to serve as like a tool to be used in plots and stuff. So the way it works is underneath your column, there is a part where you can write in a connection name, a connection pronouns, their relationship to your character, and what they think about your character. And then we'll introduce them, and then we'll all pick someone else's connection to play. If that makes sense. And on your family background, nope. And on your character role sheets, there are ideas for the type of connection you can create.
Oh, connections are below. I didn't scroll
Yeah.
lower.
Oh.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
Well, we're going to steal the name Beatrice because we need that.
Beatrice is a good name.
You say steal. Someone already said.
Oh no, I was just saying we're claiming Beatrice.
And Arthur Claythorpe, you have a mandatory connection.
I'm seeing her as an older lady with money.
Lady Diller. Yeah. I like it.
So the bit of a prudent could loosen up is a suggestion. It could be something.
Yeah, yeah. You can be like, I think Penelope Rosewater is the prettiest woman ever. Or, wait, this is her aunt. Or someone.
I would say Lady Beatrice could be like the patron of the estate that Lady Penelope grew up on, and she's known her since childhood, and so she has this like power over her and influence.
So do you want her to be a negative or positive?
I don't know which one they're supposed to be.
Well, like I was like, is she? What's his name's mother? Did you ditch?
Catherine.
Maybe Catherine. She's a terrible. But or is she like a positive person who's pushing her to go for what she wants? And
She can be positive.
okay.
I'm saying the child relation, so she has a lot of influence in her life. Doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. You love comments already.
They create yet another disappointed parent in a good society game. This is like what I always do.
We all have those tropes. I'm here for it.
I have like two characters I rotate through. I don't know.
How many times have you played?
Okay, I did a pie chart and I have played 138 sessions this year of games in general, but then 34.1% of those were good society games or like good society hacks. We were all like comparing pie charts on another Discord server and it's like, this is a lot.
I love it. Amazing.
I haven't run that many, so apologies for things.
You're doing great.
Is
So how many times do you play a week? Then that I'm calculating that out to at least 3 games a week.
it depends on the month. I think, yeah, about 3.
Wow.
It's not as bad as other people I know. Or not bad. It's not as intense as other people I know.
So for relationships, we have to put state owner, I don't know, or something.
Where? What are you doing?
Do you not prudence the sound?
Oh, sorry.
Mm. Like, how do you know that was?
Thomas Chapman. Tristan Claythorpe.
seeds to like flow ready, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, I think everyone has something down for their connection. So let's briefly introduce them. And then we'll each pick the connection of someone else. And hopefully it's someone that when you're picking a connection that your major character will not necessarily interact with a lot, just because you don't want to have scenes where you're just talking to yourself. And then after that, we will take a break. So let's start on the left side of the character keeper. So Harriet or Marley, if you would like to introduce Thomas.
Right. So Thomas is probably the only reason that Harriet is not a complete and total disaster. Only mostly a complete and total disaster. He thinks he is the one person who knows about that this is like an elaborate test. And thinks it is the dumbest thing he's ever heard. And that Harriet is not being doing right by Penelope, and that she should just marry the girl. But he's fundamentally a servant and can't make Harriet do what she doesn't want to. So there we go. Yeah, he is quite reliable and dependable, and frequently is the one that gets Harriet out of various trouble best he can.
He's great.
I really love him. Neil and Nicole, do you want to introduce Lady Beatrice?
Yeah, so Lady Beatrice has known Penelope's family since before she was born, and has always been this very strong presence in her life in supporting the Rosewaters. She also knows about Penelope and Harriet's relationship and wholeheartedly approves and tries to support her in everything she does.
I like her.
I see that Penelope is often somewhat hesitant as well to expose it. Maybe she's been burned by somebody who promised something, and I don't know. But so she's desperate for it, but she's also very hesitant to go forward with it. So I see her as that positive, grandmotherly, encouraging her to follow her dreams type of character.
I love her a lot. All right, Tristan.
Oh, I'm not muted. Right. So Tristan is Arthur's young son. He is about 10 years old. I think, his mother died of something suitably tragic many years ago. His major thoughts on his father is that he's always a bit too busy doing other things. I think there's a lot of just always getting into mischief and looks just like a smaller version of his dad, basically.
It's amazing. I love child connections. They are so much fun. All right, and I have made Sir Ashton Ellersby. He is 55-ish. Martin's father. He thinks Martin is a good boy, but he really needs to start to earn our good name and steward our money better. Ashton Ellersby is generally affable. He parroted with a light hand in the past, but started to really crack down because he is getting a little bit older. Martin had to get that love of fun and horse racing from somewhere. After all, Sir Ashton wears purple waistcoats all the time. It is his thing. So if a connection is calling out to you that you really want to play, call it out now. It can't be your own connection, and try to think about whether or not you are more likely to interact with the connection, or the two things to consider when you're picking them.
Nicole would like to play Sir Ashton.
All right.
Tristan looks fun for me.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. I either could work for me. Maybe. Yeah, no, I'm happy with either Thomas or Lady Beatrice. Do you have a preference, Maria?
I would like to play Lady Beatrice.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll take Thomas then.
Unless, I don't know, maybe you should play Lady Beatrice so you get to interact with Penelope a little more.
Yeah, sure. That's fine by me. I'm happy either way. But yeah.
Sure, I will take Thomas then. It's up. Whatever, if you have a preference. All right. Okay, cool. So this is sort of the top of the hour-ish. The next thing we're going to do is like actually start playing. I'll describe the rules a little bit, but let's take like a 10-minute break since we have been working hard thinking up characters. So I will see you all 18 minutes past the hour.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
I am so far finding all of this hilarious. I only found out about Good Society because I happened to be playing in a game with Maria, and she was like,
Oh.
"Yeah, I only play Good Society other than this." And I'm like, "What's Good Society?"
My life is just like Good Society, Hearts of Olin, Good Society, Hearts of Olin, random hack of whatever. Like,
That's funny because they both have the interweb. Hearts of Wulin is wonderful, and I've only played it once, but I don't get that many chances to play multiple different games. But it's, but no, we kickstarted this. I don't know how. I mean, whatever it was first being kickstarted, and we jumped all over the whole Good Society trying to get it. I guess there's an actual hardcover book version of this coming that's still in transit. That we're
is
still.
it? Oh, the wait. All right. I forgot to do one thing before to finish up our characters. We have reputation tags that we start the game off with, which is kind of like how our society views our characters. I've gone ahead and done mine. So basically, you each get one positive and one negative tag. Sir Martin is special because he's a terrible person and he gets an extra negative tag. And so these are basically, there are suggestions on your family background sheets. But this is kind of like when you're walking around in the world, what do people kind of think of you, whether or not you deserve it? Probably because you deserve some of it. And then I will explain what they actually will be doing in our game in a little bit.
If we wanted Penelope to be a bit quirky and like the animal hoarder of Regency England, that every lost, unwanted, injured domestic animal or always has a dog following her around kind of thing, do you think that would be a positive or negative for her reputation?
I mean, I think it could be, you might be able to like have both. Like maybe people think different things about Penelope. Like some people consider that as like an example of how like open-hearted she is, but other people consider it as a negative thing.
That's fair.
We will need descriptions of all of the pets that Penelope has as we play. No.
Demanding, and so that's why I'm out of the picture.
Elliot's the first one. And I have to apologize in advance if you ever hear him snoring or whining. He's just like the noisiest pit bull mix.
And I guess as you all are thinking of your reputation tags, I will talk a little bit about like the mechanics of the game. So the main thing that we do in Good Society is influence the narrative using resolve tokens, which you all have tokens underneath in the green box. And these are things that you can offer to another player when you want them to feel or do something, or if you want your own character to do something that's hard for them, or if you want to basically influence the story in some way that is not something that your character can just do. You can offer a resolve token, and the other player can say, sure, I'll take that resolve token and do whatever it is, or they can say, sure, but I have a condition, or I just don't want that to be involved. So it's kind of like a check-in / this is where we want to move the story type of collaboration there. And our reputation tags are going to also be able to be used that way. So you can use a positive tag to say like, I'm going to use Sir Martin's rich tag to say that I buy a house and give it to Penelope, or something. And so that tag will go away. And then you can use your negative tags against yourself. Like, I would like to use my vulgar tag, so this entire crowd just turns their back against me and makes me look for some other source of help or something. And other characters can use your negative tags against you. Let's see. So for Penelope's negative tag of loves animals, is that like loves animals too much? Or
Yeah, I was thinking that it could almost become like a hoarder situation where she just can't help herself.
Okay.
She sees a chicken in the yard that is hobbling a little bit and then feels like it has to come inside and live with her, and she nurses it back to health, and it's just like the line's a little bit crossed.
Okay, so it's like what's the word? Like easily taken in, or
Yeah.
okay, something cool.
Soft-hearted or gullible,
Yeah,
eccentric.
gullible, naive. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, loves animals. That seems like a positive thing. Just so that we can get it that it's negative. All right, so those are resolve tokens. I should actually start with one. The other mechanics are monologue tokens. So at any point in this game, you can always spend a monologue token and ask another player to basically tell us what their character is feeling on the inside. It's one of those like self-indulgent moments in the game / TV show where it's like close up on character's face. What's the voiceover? So you can spend that at any time. And new for the Emma version of Good Society is this thing called pivotal moments. So if you think that a scene that is going to happen or has just happened is a changing moment in your character's life, you can say that it's a pivotal moment that might like affect your future. We'll write that into our rumor and scandal tab as like this moment means that Sir Martin will not inherit his father's estate. And then that then becomes a rumor, which I'll explain in a little bit. But basically, if you think that something is dramatically going to affect your character's life, tell us it's a pivotal moment. You get a fortune point, which will come in handy later. And we get more to play with in the game, basically. Does that make any sense? Okay. Marley, is that a questioning face? All right.
Sort of. I think it will become more clear.
Yeah.
But I feel like I got the high level.
Okay. I think that is all I have written down for like this is the stuff that we have to know before we can start playing thing. There is one backstory question we still sort of have to figure out. So this feud that Harriet hopes to reconcile in this town that everyone knows about. Do we have any ideas about that right now? I had like some thoughts during the break, but
yeah, because it's like a new arrival thing, so that's especially weird.
It could be that she left and then came back. Like,
okay,
maybe she's gone for a while.
Or she has relatives here. Is it meant to be a family thing? It's her family.
Yeah, it. Well,
it doesn't necessarily have to be her family.
It doesn't necessarily. Well, it says your family is trapped in a bitter feud, caught in an endless struggle. What if it's?
Should it be with another player character, or?
It could be. I was thinking, and you can say that this is not, you don't want to do this, but what if it's like a feud between the Straffords and the Claythorpes? Like having to do with like this old flames relationship that they have? Like something about the feud made them break that relationship apart in the past?
I was kind of thinking that maybe, and David, you can say whether you kind of like this, but it would be sort of consistent for Harriet to, if they were, maybe they were engaged or something like that, and Harriet broke it off because she got the impression that that Arthur was just interested in her for her money. And certainly he is looking for patronage and stuff like that. So money was probably a very important component of that, though you can decide whether he also had genuine affection for her. But I could see her have like making a scene of it or something like that and being irritated. Okay.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds good.
So yes, in retrospect, well, yeah, perhaps there was a big scene or something like that, and she raised a bit of a scandal. And now that she's looking back on it, it's kind of like, well, this is not. Yeah, fundamentally, I didn't want to marry him, and I have that right, but I really should not have done that as badly as I did.
And now the two families kind of like give each other the cold shoulder, like if there are.
Yeah.
Do you even attend Arthur's church services? Or do they even attend Arthur's church services?
So I think Harriet has been gone for a long time and is now back. So if church, I think that hasn't come up yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's possibly one of the things everyone is watching for.
All right.
There you go. Dare she show her face?
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and possibly if Arthur is in fact a widower, they may be looking that this is Harriet's chance to make things right. By like, I could imagine meddling family members thinking that they should try again. But I don't think that's actually going to work out, but it could be fun to play with.
Tristan needs a mom, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Tristan doesn't. Maybe Tristan's happy. Okay. So are there any questions before we just jump right into this novel that we are going to create? All right. So the first chapter of actually playing this game is going to be a novel chapter. And I think we probably want to start with a chapter where everyone can get involved. And this is typically some sort of event, which doesn't mean that we all have to be talking at the same time. It can mean that at whatever large event, we split up into smaller groups and characters can talk to each other. Let's see. What if people are up to it, we just jump in and see whether or not Harriet does show up at the end of it's like the end of a church service or something, and it's that like whole handshake with the reverend thing, and split off into brunch, Regency brunch, and see maybe it's like fall, so there's like harvest, like a small harvest gathering after church, and our characters are all there mingling. Our connections can also be there. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. Let's see. What Reverend Arthur, what does the setup look like? Is it just like a whole bunch of tables, or are we outside, inside?
Yeah, I think it's maybe outside on the village green, but with like a kind of big marquee tent up covering the tables, because it's likely to begin raining at any moment. There's just like those sort of like pallet tables with sort of white tablecloths over the top, and there's the sort of like flowers, quite a lot of flowers around, sort of like blooming flowers, and a little kind of decorative like wheat sheaves set up, and then probably fairly simple sort of bread and cheese type meals laid out.
Cool. Penelope, let's see. What does the crowd look like? Are there lots of children running around, or
I have an idea about
Yeah.
that. There's setting up, and there's a brief moment when there's a bit of barking and over in the corner on the side of the green, and then you hear children laughing, and I see, and perhaps Tristan's one of them, but Penelope is corralling the children and several dogs from the town, and she's beginning to give getting each child to stand next to a dog and trying to get them all in order. She's kind of falling immediately into her schoolmarm kind of attitude, but she has to send Tristan running off because one of the dogs is trying to get the cheese, and the Reverend is setting out, and so it's a bit of a disturbance, but at the same time she's taking care of she's giving some parents maybe a well-needed 5 minutes away from their child. But
Harriet, are you at this outside the church harvest shenanigan?
Yes. So, let's see. I am torn between Harriet showed up at church. She was just dramatically late. Yeah, I think I do like that. So yes.
halfway
So she
through
did
the
just,
sermon.
yeah, so she meant to be on time because that's a thing, but she's not very good at being on time. So she wasn't. And so the service had already started, and then she sort of came in, and she came in a sort of dramatic door flinging open sort of entrance. And then all of the heads, and then there's quiet, and all of the heads turn to look at her. And then, I don't know, do you guys want to react to that? Or shall we just say she found her seat and pick it up again after?
Does the Reverend react to the late arrival of his old flame?
Yeah, I think it will have slightly distracted him partway through talking. It's not like a dramatic thing, but he definitely kind of loses his place and starts repeating himself again, as he is very easily distracted. But yeah, I think there's definitely a reaction there.
Is this Harriet's first reappearance in town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think she told anyone she was coming.
So if anybody notices, Penelope would definitely perk up, and can't help herself but crack a big smile and that type of stuff, and then have to force herself back into a more composure, as Harriet probably seems to completely ignore her and take a seat on the other side of the pews or whatever it is. And but yeah, if anybody was paying attention, Penelope was a bit overreactive to this entrance of Harriet. So
Yeah. Let's say that once we've seen the reactions during the service to all of the to Harriet showing up late, we go then, unless people have something that they want to do during the service so that the Reverend can react to that from the pew. We go to now they're all filing outside, and we have the commotion of the children and everything. Who wants to who confronts Harriet first? Is it the Reverend or is it Penelope? I feel like there should be words.
Yeah, I think maybe after doing the kind of meet and greet at the end of the sermon, I think Arthur does approach Harriet. Miss Strafford, it's good to see you again. It has been quite some time. I hope you've been well.
Ah, Reverend, of course. Good to see you again. Meant to get in last night. Horse through a shoe. Had to stay the night on the road.
Oh dear, that sounds most frightful.
Oh no, just the sort of things that comes with travel. Meant to get here on time and then didn't, and then stood outside and thought that was even worse. So I decided to come in regardless.
Well, it's certainly good to see you. Will you be in town long?
Long enough, I expect.
Well, I shall have to introduce you to all and sundry.
Oh, has things changed that much? Supposed to be a fall
well-
festival or some such thing today, isn't there? I remember that growing up.
Yes, that's right. The Harvest Festival is on today. Do come and join us, of course.
Oh, yes. With pumpkins. I remember pumpkins. Other pumpkins? Yes.
I feel like potentially this would be a fun time for Penelope to show up to this great
I've
conversation.
got an idea, dude. So as Harriet is kind of being led over, asking about pumpkin.
Speaking of a fondness of dogs.
That was actually extremely appropriate. Probably the mailman showing up. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's probably something similar to that. Is that as Harriet's going over, suddenly there's a troop of young boys and girls, each with a dog, that comes kind of walking past under Penelope's guidance. Showing them how to lead the dog and keep it under control and that kind of stuff. But of course, at least one or two are completely out of control and runs right into Harriet's skirts or whatever. But Penelope is clearly leading this troop of children right past Harriet on purpose, so that she can come up to her and as she's positioning them, and having them stand, she ends up standing right next to Harriet and saying, "I did not realize what would be is it lady, miss? Like, if we're just friends, what's the appropriate?"
I'm not sure entirely how Regency. I don't.
History is fake. It could be whatever.
History is fake. Miss works for me, but we can do something else that sounds better.
And Miss Strafford, I appreciate your appearance. I had no idea you were coming back into town.
I thought it was pumpkins, but apparently it's puppies, unless my memory is not serving me right. I do not remember. I recall this festival as having far fewer canines and far more vegetation, but I have to say I like this new adjustment. So this one I think needs a bit more work, and she picks up the terrier that's like sniffing at her skirts that has been a bit unruly. And halfway up remembers that the dog reminds her that dogs are not actually for picking up like cats are. She puts it back down. Oh, sorry. There you go. Back to your friend.
But again, Penelope can't help but smile at this because one of the things she always liked about Harriet was Harriet is completely at home with animals, even though she pretends that she's not. So, she would basically ask exactly what the Reverend just asked. Are you staying long?
Long enough, I expect.
And how long would that be?
Excellent question. This is quite the entourage you have. Is there some sort of parade?
Well, we've got to keep the children occupied and give them something good to do. And so...
That's your role, is it?
We do what we're good at. And so I don't want to drag this out too long, but if Penelope, actually no, I would see Penelope like begins to then introduce each child and each dog to Harriet and anybody else passing by.
This must be the all and sundry that the Reverend is discussing.
Is the Reverend watching?
This is the segment of town I have not yet met. I do not believe many of you were born when last I was here. And she'll like go along and shake hands and very respectfully.
What is the Reverend thinking about these two?
Yeah, I think is perhaps a little surprised that they already knew each other, but then he's not kept the most up to date on what either Miss Strafford or Miss Rosewater have been up to with their time. So no, I think he will step back and allow them to talk, and we'll probably do the kind of like polite moving on somewhere else once the parade of animals begins.
Yeah. I think Sir Martin will like have been lingering around this party somewhere in like some sort of sportsy looking fancy outfit, and just like eyeing the dogs with some disdain. Reverend Arthur or Reverend Claythorpe is not aware that our parish was opening its doors to canine spirituality.
Yes, Sir Martin. It's Miss Rosewater thought the children might appreciate dogs.
I see. And is this whole parish here to cater to children and dogs now?
Well, the all creatures, great and small and all that. It kind of shrugs.
And Penelope probably overhears this because this is their former friend, and
Ooh.
Harriet would notice. Probably everybody would notice that she goes from smiling and upbeat to very icy as soon as Sir Martin arrives.
I think I need a resolve token.
Oh, okay.
For you to overhear.
Oh, gotcha. Sure. How do I do that?
So you would say, like, if you wanted to hear something that, because you're like talking to Harriet and their dog, so to hear this would have been a little bit maybe harder than just like us talking very loudly.
Do I give you, like, I give Martin the
Yep.
token?
You would say, like, I'll give you a resolve token if Penelope overhears this, and then I could be like, yes, or yes, but, or no. But I will say, yeah, sure.
So I unclick one of mine and give it to you then?
Or I can just handle the unclicking.
Okay,
I got it.
Sure. So yes, I would do that for her to overhear. And perhaps, is suddenly right at his elbow on the other side, and with, and just, I see you've returned again to make promises you can't keep.
Sir Martin will like stiffly bow to Penelope and be like,
Yes, some of God's creatures know loyalty. And she pets the large, husky at her feet. Um,
I
and
was, I was merely commenting that it seems that our parish has had an influx of strays recently, as the dogs, and kind of like side eyes Harriet a little bit too.
Yeah, can Harriet be overhearing this since this seems to be happening right there?
We're all just like have conglomed, I guess.
Yes. Well, Sir Martin is in fact my best friend. So, so, so Harriet will turn and say, "Martin, guilty as charged. So I find I am," and will offer a hearty handshake. I'm finding dogs. Dogs are a much more reliable companion, I think. Been having problems with horses. Should have stuck to dogs. Things might have gone much better. But how have you been?
Well, I have been. This whole village has been doing very well. You know,
Good.
how father is. Next time you have any problems with horses, though, you should come to us. We can see you right on that front.
Oh, I hadn't known that you were fond of the wagers.
I am a gentleman's son. I have had my own share of understanding how horses work. Have you greeted the Reverend and Miss Rosewater, I assume, on your return? Oh no, did we lose Marley? We might have lost Marley.
are we back?
I think I'm back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, sorry. You were a gentleman. That's the last I heard.
Oh, yes. Oh, wait, shoot, did I?
It has been some time then since you've heard.
Miss Rosewater. I think he just I think he wants to like say something, but he just like it's too public of a space, so he does the hand clench.
The hand clench, the bad hand clench.
The like zoom in on the Arthur hand clench. I think he just like looks around and says, "I'm clearly unwanted here. I hope to see you at some point, Harriet. I mean, Miss Strafford."
Of course. Thomas has gone ahead to Birchwood Cottage to open it up.
Excellent.
I expect we'll be receiving guests as soon as tomorrow.
Excellent. Reverend, take care. I hope that the openness of our congregation will at least bring you joy.
Of course, Sir Martin. Well, it was lovely to see you, of course. Lovely to see you down. And we'll have to catch up again later.
And he'll just, Sir Martin will just like heel click and bow to Miss Rosewater and march off. Do any of you have anything else you want to see out of our little village opening?
Penelope would say, and Miss Strafford, when you're settled in, might I pay a visit?
Of course, you're always welcome at Birchwood Cottage.
And nod. Again, I'm not even sure. Is it a handshake, bow? I'm not even sure what the appropriate gesture is, but
whatever you want to do.
And then, Reverend, excellent sermon today. And then she will go back and lead her troop of children and dogs back to the other side of the park.
Cool. So we'll call that the end of this first event chapter then. And let's just go into reputation. So the reputation phase is where we look at our actions over this event, and compare them to our family background sheets, where there are certain criteria we can meet that will affect whether or not we gain a positive or negative tag, or both. It is possible to gain both, even for the same action. And it is totally normal to also not really have felt like you've changed your reputation somehow. So we can go through, and if you think you have gained a reputation, please let us know. Or if you want like input on whether you think you've gained a reputation.
That's
I think I acted in contravention of society's conventions.
For showing up late at church?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you would add yourself. You are ill-reputed. So you would give yourself another negative tag.
Okay.
And when you get to 3 tags, something will happen that I will say when someone gets to 3 tags.
Do I pick another word off of this list, or do
can
I
just
try and
make
come
it
up
up.
with one that's just make it up? Okay.
And if you need help coming up with words, we can help.
Irreverent. Impious. Irreverent.
I like irreverent.
I felt that the accosting of Sir Martin was a bit gauche, and I'm not sure how to. I was looking for if there's certain like criteria that I'm supposed to compare this against. But
on your, if you have the PDF for the family background sheets open.
Oh, gotcha. Yep,
if you look for humble origins, and then the reputation criteria.
Ah, there we go. Gotcha. So negative tag: acted in contravention of society's conventions, acted with a desire in a way that compromised your duty or morality, presumed to order, instruct, or make a demand of someone. I think the second one is that I would, in a desire that way that compromised me, is that she was a bit too forward, a bit too cold and icy and aggressive towards Sir Martin, and that it probably did not go over well.
Yeah, especially since he is of a higher rank. So you would give yourself some adjective word.
I like that one is just poor.
Can I just say rude?
yeah, that's totally fine. Or like cold, but rude is very good. Reverend Arthur.
Yeah, I don't think I hit any of my negative ones particularly, but I also don't feel like I went like above and beyond enough to hit any of my positive ones either. I don't think we really saw any hardship or compromised desires or anything. So no, I think.
Cool. And I think I also didn't really act in service of duty or morality or in contravention to society. I was not vulgar for once. So I think I also stay the same, set as a reputation tag. Was this, I forgot to ask, was the scene like life-changing for anyone? Pivotal? Will it affect anyone's future?
So Harriet was trying to drop not so subtle hints that she has lost her fortune in horse racing. But that was part of her setup scheme, so I'm not sure that's pivotal at this point.
I don't think so right now.
We don't have to role play it out, but that's one of the things I would like to have happened out of this event, is that those rumors have started that she's actually penniless.
We are going.
Like, she's let go of all of her servants except Thomas, and like.
We've got a good rumor and scandal phase coming up. So on the rumor and scandal phase, this is a phase where we basically play society, making up gossip about everyone. So each person will get 2 turns. I, as Sir Martin, already have a negative rumor that I've spread about myself. But on your turn, you can create a rumor or scandal. It doesn't have to be about you. It could be about the other characters. Or you can spread a rumor or scandal. So basically, spread rumors are rumors that society basically takes to be true. Rumors that are there are just like rumors that are spoken about. And then we will have fading rumors, and that's just stuff that like we laugh about, like, ha ha, how could that have been thought? So we can do this in multiple ways. Let's just go like, if you have an idea for a rumor you want to spread or you want to start, go ahead and type it in, because I don't want to put people on the spot.
And I'm sorry, where are we typing them?
Oh, on the 4th tab, rumor and scandal of the character sheet. There are 2 people typing or clicking. Nice. So now someone can spread that rumor about Harriet if they want to, or create another rumor.
So with spread, I
Mhm.
think like the first one that you typed in on your character,
Is already spread.
right? So that's because that's what Penelope was basically reinforcing.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't know that I've actually. Okay, gotcha. I mean, personally, I saw that that Penelope just didn't even begin to grasp what Harriet was spreading. So, like that, I don't know that she's still going to get blindsided once that news kind of breaks.
Mm. So what I can do then is, why don't I spread this rumor that Harriet lost her fortune at the horse races and is now penniless? So all of society is basically talking about this and understanding that it's true. So
Okay.
Penelope will probably hear about this. And it's up to Penelope whether or not she believes this rumor, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. But like the Lady Beatrice probably thinks this is true, potentially. Like people are talking about it. Does anyone have a rumor that they are currently typing?
I think I'm going to create the rumor that the Reverend is still pining over Harriet.
Great. Love it. And I will create a rumor that Sir Martin has been Sir Martin is searching for a partner, wife. And Neil/Nicole, you guys can start a rumor or spread one of these rumors.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually struggling for the rumor part, so I will think on this, but
Your 2 turns could also be to spread if you want.
I will. So by spread, is it the player spreading it, or is the character spreading?
It is the player, so this is one
Okay.
of those like meta phases.
Okay, cool. So I'll spread the searching for a wife and partner. And
Good luck with that.
Do you have any rumor ideas? Can we use the secondary characters?
Yeah, you can make up rumors about. It just has to be something that will influence circumstances that will somehow influence the main characters. It doesn't have to necessarily name the main characters.
Gotcha.
So I've gone twice. I think everyone else has gone once. And when a rumor is spread, that the fact that it is spread means that it has more narrative weight. So you can use that as a resolve token, basically to say, using this rumor, I want to basically introduce this new thing into the narrative and make it true.
I have a thought for a Penelope rumor, but only if you guys think it's fun.
Sure. And Nicole has a suggestion too. Go for it.
Just that Penelope is clearly too eccentric to ever marry.
I'm totally down with that.
Okay.
Shots fired. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
I like that one. One of the ideas that Nicole just had was that Sir Ashton, make sure I get the character's name right, had provided an extra sum for his son to invest to test his ability to secure this, and he's coming into town or to check up on where how Sir Martin has been doing with his financial investment.
Yeah, that's cool. I can type that in, or you can type it in.
I'll type in.
All right. So you've gone twice. I've gone twice. Marley's gone twice. David, you can spread or start a rumor.
Yeah, I think I'm going to spread a rumor. I'm just not sure which one I will. I think I think I'm going to spread the I'm going to spread the rumor. I'm going to spread that rumor about Penelope, I think.
Gasp. All right. So then
I see how it is. All right.
our spread rumors are that Sir Martin promised to financially support Penelope's school but backed out at the last minute. Harriet Strafford lost her fortune at the horse races and is now penniless. Penelope Rosewater is clearly too eccentric to ever marry, and Sir Martin is searching for a wife/partner. And the fading rumors are that Reverend Claythorpe is still pining over Harriet, and Sir Ashton is arriving soon to check on the financial investments of Sir Martin. And just the fact that they're spreading means that in the next round of rumor and scandal, this might eventually just not really be a thing that society is talking about. All right, so that is our rumor and scandal phase. And again, you can use basically the tokens attached to these rumors to make things happen in the story related to them. Let me see.
Can I just verify? So because we didn't spread it, they're automatically fading. Is that?
Yes, I think. I'll have to check in the things to make sure because I'm always a little unclear about when it's fading or not. But I think they become automatically fading. I don't know if you remember, David, from the last time.
Yeah, that sounds about right because I think that means that they're both essentially still active, as it were, for this like
Mhm.
next phase, and then after that, the ones that are fading just drop off entirely, and then the ones, if the ones that are spread don't get spread again, I think they drop to fading. So, but yeah, it's been a
Something
while.
like that.
Yeah.
All right. So let me check. Okay. So the next phase that's coming up is the epistolary phase, and this is where our game also sort of is different from the normal good society. So in epistolary, you will be sending letters to each other in the normal game, but in our dramatic self-indulgent game, we can also write journal entries, describe dreams or nightmares, or have weather interludes. And the weather interludes are posted below, and these are scenes or vignettes where we get to learn a little bit more about our characters. So in epistolary, you can write a letter to another major character. You can write from your connection to another major character. You can also use resolve tokens to compel other major characters or connections to write to you. And yeah, I think that's basically what epistolary is. And when I say write, we'll dictate, but it doesn't even have to be like dictate the letter. You can also just be like, I'm going to write a letter to Sir Ashton, and this is what is going to be in this letter, and just do bullet points of what is in the letter if you don't feel like writing things out in your brain improvisationally, because that's a lot. So do you guys have questions about epistolary? And so I guess I should say, to clarify with like the weather interludes, a vignette is a something that will be like describing a character, like in the instrumental music like swells and your character is having some sort of like montage or short scene. And then a scene is one where they will be interacting with a different character. So in the stormy weather interlude, it would be a rash action that we would then frame a scene where your character is doing something very differently from what they normally do. And you each get 2. Or we could do 1, and then if we're all completely stumped, we can just do 1. But it is the top of another hour, so let us take a 5-minute break and we can percolate these in our heads, if that works for everyone.
Sure.
Okay. I'll see you at the 16 after the hour.
Quick question. Is the difference between Emma and the Straight Up Good Society the cycle of play?
It is. That and the epistolary. And the main changes are the insertion of a passage of time phase,
Mhm.
the addition of non-letter things to epistolary, and then the pivotal moments, which is like, is this going to change your fortune in the future?
Gotcha.
Those are, I think, the three main things. And other things like the tone is more dramatic than Good Society, because in Good Society you can have like romantic comedy and farce as well as drama.
Cool.
Yeah. I just really like the passage of time. I like having weather interludes. Speaking of, we are now in epistolary. So I have, as Sir Martin, a letter to send to Miss Penelope Rosewater, and it is basically just going to be a note that says, "Dear Miss Rosewater, I sincerely apologize for the hurt I have done to you in the past. I see that it has not left your mind, and I understand that it may be more difficult for it to leave your mind. If you could please let me know what it is I could do to make it up to you, I would be grateful. Sincerely, Sir Martin Ellersby." And you don't have to respond to that. You could also just be like, we can respond in a scene later on or something.
And actually, I want to look at the rumors then. But okay, I like that. So we get an apology letter of some kind.
A please like me again letter.
And then rumor. I find this mildly humorous, but also perfect cross purposes. Is that Penelope is reading this letter only after she has posted a letter to Reverend Claythorpe, warning him of the dire consequences of going into business with Sir Martin and to trusting him on his, promises and financial backing, and that despite his charm, she can't even stop him. The man does not know horses as he claims, as and that your proud services to the community, do not put them in jeopardy by and take care with your future. So she's just written this about as scathing as you can get away with commentary on Sir, and only then does she receive the letter from him. So
yeah, and I think I think that the Reverend has written a note to Harriet. Says, "My dear Miss Strafford, it was good to see you again the other day, and I hope you are settling back into the village well. I, of course, regret the our parting those years ago, but I bear you no lasting malice, and I hope the same is true of you as well. it will be good to become reacquainted again if you so wish, and I hope that this letter finds you well. The door of the vicarage is always open if you wish to stop in for tea sometime. Yours, Reverend Claythorpe.
Yeah, so Harriet's actually pretty pleased to get this because she was expecting to have to make grand gestures to sort of repair things. And of course, mending this feud is sort of in the back of her mind, but maybe it doesn't have. Maybe it's just all in her head. Maybe there's no feud. Maybe she was making something out of nothing. Apparently, Arthur's fine. So really, who else cares? Because yeah, Harriet doesn't always pick up on nuance. So I think for my first action, I think Harriet needs a bit of a montage, which is the faux poverty montage, where Thomas, there's like a series of scenes between her and Thomas, where Thomas is trying to is both being exasperated with her because he thinks this whole thing is stupid, but since she has asked and she is his employer, he is trying to teach her the correct behavior if you do not have money. And they've done this whole thing with the cottage, and he's like, okay. And they're having discussions like, okay, well, surely we need a cook. And he's like, no, you can't afford a cook if you don't have money. Like, well, how will we eat?
A date yet for this a day type weather interlude for Harriet, or are we doing a
I think that's what it would
Thomas.
be. Technically, you were saying that there was a montage kind of weather.
So
thing.
It's a simple joys or the business of life sort of vignette on Harriet.
Harriet. Yeah, as she's sort of and they're changing the cottage to put away the more expensive things as if they've been pawned and stuff like that.
Yes.
So lots of little things to
Thomas,
sort of show, so that
has to
anyone who
drag in
comes
mud.
over will it will help support this rumor that they don't actually have money. Give people to gossip, something to gossip about.
Cool.
Mhm.
If anyone has a second thing that they'd like to do already, we don't have to go in order. So if you have it all ready.
Yeah, I think that we just get a little vignette. It's like one of those sunny autumn days out in sort of the local hillside, and I think it's just a little vignette of Arthur and Tristan fishing in a little stream, and catching some trout or what have you.
So go ahead.
I had an idea for describing a dream or nightmare, but I wanted to verify with Marley if this is appropriate, because we mentioned that Penelope would have come over as your cottage was set up, and so I'm seeing her waking up the next morning, gasping for breath from a nightmare, as in her dream state, it suddenly set in, where was that candelabra from her mother that she treasured so much? Why wasn't that there? And where was the, that, painting that, of the soldier on horseback that she always had, over the fireplace, and why wasn't it that there? And she's not sure if it was a dream or a nightmare, but she suddenly she had this dream of Harriet walking away down a road, throwing all her jewels and her money away, and no matter what Penelope did or said and called after her, Harriet was just laughing and carefree and didn't seem to listen to her, and you know, and she wakes up in this like panic of, you know, just how truly desperate the situation might be. So
there's so the scene I think we need to have, and I can't quite, yeah, maybe it's a letter. Maybe it's a letter. Okay, so the second letter is in fact to Penelope.
okay.
And it is in fact, my dearest Penelope. By now you may have heard the rumors that I returned to the village under somewhat diminished circumstances. I regret to inform you that these rumors are all entirely true, and in fact, perhaps a bit modest and reserved in light of my actual estate. I can now no longer offer you anything as a spouse to keep you safe and comfortable, except for myself. I recognize these are not the circumstances under which we entered our engagement, and understand if you would like some time to think about the implications. I, of course, would never hold you to a promise that you made under. Yeah, I can't think of a good way to end that, but presumably I said something good. That kind of thing.
Can we say like this is after she's woken up and she's managed to get through part of the day of convincing herself it was just a nightmare and it wasn't true, and then the letter arrives confirming
Sure.
everything that the dream foretold?
Love that.
And you know, so yeah, like she's just convinced herself that no, of course that couldn't be true, and then the letter is there.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend a monologue token on Penelope then to get like, give me your like self-indulgent, this is how I feel about Harriet, about the future of your love together, if there is any.
Do you want to do it?
I don't know. I'm really torn. I feel like we'd be reeling. Like, she loves Harriet, but her entire life's goal that she's been dreaming about since she was a kid was to have her own school, and this changes everything. And she doesn't know if she can afford to follow her heart, given her diminished means and where she's at in life. And that's a true dilemma. I think she'd just be reeling in a panic and just be like shattered and not know how to respond yet.
That's so good.
Can you afford to follow your heart? I don't know.
I love it.
Totally. That's great.
Amazing. I love those.
I see her like wandering out of the house, and at the end, she's just sitting there thinking, randomly petting a random dog.
She used to feed all those
Who's
dogs.
licking her face. You know.
All right. I think Arthur and Martin are the only two that have not gone a second time yet. Do you have ideas?
No, I've had two. One of mine was very short.
Day
yeah.
and
I had a letter to Harriet.
All right, then I think Martin's is it's a day vignette. It is the busyness of life, and I think it's you see him in his study. He has like a stack of papers from his father, I think, if we were to zoom in and look at the handwriting. And he has a pen in his hand, and it's like a ledger. And I think his desk like faces outside, and so he can watch like all of the nice fall happenings outside, but he is stuck inside, presumably thinking about financial investments. But really, if we were to zoom in on the paper, he is doodling, because he cannot get his mind to focus on thinking about where the money should be going exactly. So that is our epistolary phase. Check this off. And now we are going to go into our next novel chapter, which I'm thinking we've sort of set up a whole bunch of like scenes we want to see between characters, like maybe Penelope and Harriet in Harriet's cottage. Maybe everyone just visits Harriet at like different times of the day. Maybe we could see some of our connections as well. Do people have ideas for scenes they'd like to see?
Yeah, I feel like Harriet wants to talk to everybody.
Okay.
And happily we'll have people over because she needs to flaunt her poverty.
Yeah.
If we wanted, we could do a dinner party and put everyone in the same spot, or if you think this is more of a one-on-one sort of thing.
I think I'd like to see one-on-one so we can get a little bit more depth for now. We could potentially do like start with like in the early in the day where everyone is meeting with Harriet, and then maybe someone hosts a party at the end, or we can save that for the next novel chapter. I do kind of want to see Sir Ashton being a good father to Martin at some point potentially. Arthur or Penelope, do you have scenes that you specifically want to see or people you want to talk to?
I mean, I definitely think Penelope and Harriet need to have a heart-to-heart at some point, as much as that's possible. Is this the last chapter before we're going to jump ahead a bunch of time? So do we need to set up some serious drama here?
We could, yeah. I think it's a two-shot, so if we want to just push the pedal on the drama, and then we're going to have a time passage time. I'm thinking that the passage of time will probably happen at the start of our session tomorrow, just in terms of timing. So we have space to do things in this novel chapter. We'll see how it goes just in terms of the scenes, but I'm sort of aiming for that to start tomorrow, so we have more time. So Penelope and Harriet for sure. Everyone in Harriet, probably. Connections we want to see?
That's true, the connections.
These can be scenes with like, we could have a scene of like Tristan and the Reverend talking about stuff, or Beatrice talking to Penelope, or we can just start with one and then see what happens too. So
Sir Ashton and Sir Martin aren't actually members of the peerage, right? They're just wealthy. I can't remember.
they're just wealthy.
Okay.
I just threw in a Sir because maybe Sir Ashton was knighted for something. I forgot to look up like how exactly baronetcy works, but a little important.
So I was thinking, and maybe it's both actually with David. So it's either Penelope is kind of confessing her distraught position with either the Reverend as the clergy looking for counsel, or with Lady Beatrice as her grandmotherly type looking for counsel. But either way, they're both played by David. But I kind of see one of those, that scene like that. I'm just not sure if you guys can tell me which one seems more appropriate.
Yeah, either of those sounds good to me.
Do you want to do?
Do you want that to happen before she talks to Harriet?
Yeah, let's do that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's have Penelope and either Lady Beatrice or the Reverend Penelope can start talking, and then whatever comes out of David's mouth can be.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to do that?
Sure. I mean, okay, I'm just going to envision that we're just like behind the fold and I can't see if it's Lady Beatrice or
yeah, no. I mean, which would you prefer? Because I'm happy either way, but
this way we can have a little idea of where the location is.
I guess I feel like Lady Beatrice would be the go-to as like one of the people in her life she has gone to for advice her entire life. And she's just, Lady Beatrice, I'm at an utter loss. I feel like my heart is being ripped in two. I don't know if I should follow my dreams of what I've always wanted to be able to support myself and have an independent life and run my own school, or follow my heart and my Lady Harriet. What do we say?
Can I throw in a third option? Or can I hold Sir Martin to his newly made promise and, or maybe it's not a third option, but it's the first, like, if I can bear to take Sir Martin at his word again, that, you know, that might be a way to achieve my dream and give him a second chance. But that is what's tearing us in two, because versus the relationship with Harriet. So I think part of that is, you know, can I accept him at his word? Should I risk it? It would be the most straightforward way to my dream if he could actually come through. But it would mean, and would that mean casting aside Harriet and my chance at, you know, an actual, you know, relationship? But can I trust her? She lost money on horses too, both of them.
But I can't imagine my life without Lady Harriet. What is a life without love?
well, my dear, this is a tricky position, certainly, but one cannot. Of course, you have to think to your future and what will become of you. If you would be content to spend the rest of your life penniless and at the margins of society, and that alone with this Harriet would be enough for you, then I think you already have your answer. But if it is a question of trust and who you can trust, I cannot say. If both of these people have problems with gambling, then that may be a sign of a greater moral degeneracy, and perhaps you would be better off without either of them in your life.
Am I always to be at the whims of the unreliable, that they would so easily cast aside a relationship or a promise for an evening's revelry? But maybe that is the world we are in, because without them, I have no future.
Of course, we must. There is always an element of risk whenever we are looking at relationships like these. But maybe choice you did not present. Maybe there's someone more reliable, a more dependable person that you might seek out. Maybe not as thrilling as these other people you have met, but someone who could offer you security, if not great wealth or great excitement.
And if not Harriet, who could possibly think to have us? We're already have had so many seasons out and are on the shelf. Getting a little desperate.
My dear, you are still a fine young woman. I have no doubt you will find somebody who is willing to offer you their heart.
See past our clothes view.
Can I
Sure.
give Lady Beatrice a token if she just names Reverend Arthur as a potential suitor?
Yeah, sure. That sounds fair.
Just like put it out there in name.
And yeah, should I say, how about the young Reverend? He has married before. He has a young boy who I'm sure is in great need of a motherly touch. And you are so good with the children, dear, my dear. Might he not be able to offer you some happiness in this life where these others have failed you?
Tristan is a fine boy, and I would be proud to be his mother. And the Reverend is a good and loyal person, and perhaps that is it. I find myself surrounded by dogs who are loyal, but they are not necessarily exciting, as you say. That is not something my heart or dreams had pulled me towards, but if that is that the way of this world?
I have married for love, and I have married for stability, and I have married for money. At the end of the day, we can always find something in a relationship, even if sometimes they are so tragically cut short.
I'll wrap it up in my opinion, but I would before I can make such a decision, I must speak with her. I must know her mind before I can take any further course. But thank you.
Of course. And I think if she's truly touched your heart so much, you owe it to both herself and yourself to make your feelings known to her, even if it is to part.
Cool. Unless Penelope has something to say to that, I think maybe we see Harriet and maybe just like a brief scene of Harriet and Thomas before Penelope shows up at Harriet's cottage, and if that's where Penelope is going next. So Harriet's cottage has just been like completely made to look cheap and poor now. Is that what we're saying?
I mean, it's not like they deliberately trashed the place. but like very much, it used to be more opulent, and now it's not. Like, yeah, the things about, yes, the silver chandelier is gone and stuff like that, where, it's not that it's like a disreputable house. It's just, it's not rich the way it used to be. I mean, in as much as it's already
Thomas.
this really nice house, because of course, Harriet's cottage is probably still pretty amazing.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think Thomas is like shining some silverware, because even if it is going to be a less well-off house than before, it still needs to at least look good. And I think he's just looking over his shoulder at Harriet and just says, I still don't understand why we had to shove the chandelier in the basement.
Well, poor people don't have chandeliers, is my understanding. I'm not sure I've ever been in such a home, but that is what I gather.
But my dear Harriet, if I can be so bold as to call you Harriet,
Please do.
why don't you just... Why do you have to test Penelope? I mean, Miss Stratford?
So it's one of the consequences of being rich that when people want to become engaged to, often they are looking for wealth and don't actually care about the person attached to it. I was taken in once before. The Reverend, I thought, had genuine affections for me, and then it became clear that he was also seeking our patronage. And well, no, I want to be loved for myself, without the wealth. If she loves me while she thinks that I am still poor, then I know her affections are real. Otherwise, perhaps I am just a means to an end, and that is not the sort of life I want.
Couldn't you just ask her?
Well, no one actually says I'm marrying you for your money.
I guess, but can't you tell if the person you love loves you back just in their response?
I thought so with Arthur, and then I was much deceived.
Well, he's a clergyman, and they just say things and they believe it very much, and when everything they say sounds like truth, so I can believe you falling for that. Twice the Harriet.
Okay. Sorry, you were saying something about Arthur being a clergyman.
Yeah, I think I was saying I totally understand how you could fall for anything that a clergyman says. They seem so knowledgeable.
And it's true, but Penelope does seem so sincere.
I'm just saying, I think it's completely silly for you to go about this charade hiding who you truly are from the person that maybe you want to marry.
Well, yes, but it's just a brief deception. It's not as though I was intending to keep her penniless forever. Just once I am secure in her affections, I can break the happy news that of course I do gamble a bit, but not to such extremes. Would never lose my fortune. What sort of idiot does that? Oh, right. That's why I thought of it. Right. I probably should have picked a different way of losing one's fortune, but I'm not very familiar with this topic. Hopefully the redundancy shall be overlooked. Surely there are plenty of people who lose their fortunes in horse racing.
I've never had a fortune, so I don't know. But, well, I would hate to be the manservant to a penniless gentlewoman. So the briefer you can keep this deception, the better, Miss Harriet Stratford. think you muted. You are muted.
You're muted.
Do you really think it is so trying for her? Is she in distress, do you think? Does money mean so much to her?
Well, I've seen her surrounded by children and dogs who get their mud everywhere, so I cannot imagine that she is living a peaceful life. She is a teacher, schoolmistress, and I much prefer a life of wrangling silverware and one person. So I think you ought to do your best to rescue Penelope Rosewater from her current situation.
But surely she does not mind it. I mean, most of those dogs are quite voluntary. I believe a few have introduced themselves to her her home, but most of them, I believe, she invites from her own free will.
I feel like now is a time for potentially there to be a knock on the door, and it might be Penelope.
Uh-huh.
That works for us.
Cool. I think Thomas will go open it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of.
You want to kick it off?
Yeah, I guess when Thomas opens the door, we present our card and ask if our dear Harriet is accepting visitors. Moment.
She is 100% accepting you. He like bows. Miss Strafford, it is Ms. Rosewater here.
Excellent, excellent. With or without entourage, should we meet in the garden? Or will the parlor do? I know how you feel about paw prints on the furniture.
I prefer in the garden. I don't know if the dogs are here.
The garden it is. It's a lovely day.
And Thomas will like lead you to the garden where Harriet is waiting.
We surprisingly only have one dog with us. Just Elliot, but he follows along and is fairly quiet and well behaved compared to the usual entourage. My dear Harriet, if I may be so forward, I must know if your feelings for me remain unchanged. I feel like it's been an age since I've seen you, and I've just missed you.
I've missed you as well. I know they are my feelings are quite constant. I think of you fondly all the time. Our engagement still, the idea of it makes me happy, though I do not wish it to be a prison for you, rather a promise of a future together that you would look forward to. And I'm not sure I can offer the same comforts I previously could.
I admit I find myself a tad confused as to your circumstances. I just don't understand how you could be, I'm not sure how to say this. I was worried that you were so desperate to rid yourself of me and our engagement that you voluntarily were looking for your own disinheritance. Is that what you're saying?
To throw away your fortune.
Yeah, and throw away your fortune.
No, not at all. How to put this? One bit of my history, which I had thought had come to your ears, is that if I do not want an engagement, I am quite forward about disentangling myself from one. I would not have gone through a charade. That charade. Yes, would you like some tea? Thomas, bring some tea.
Thomas brings you tea. He was waiting.
If I could, though, we have talked before of the desire to form a school where, teach children and prepare the next generation, and that would be our, but without your fortune, I can't imagine I would not expect this of you, but could you be working in the school with me? I cannot imagine that you would be one to be corralling children with me, and unfortunately we would have to find a patron, and I would hate to have you have to put yourself into such a position for me. Where, if not that future, what future do we have?
I had not thought that we would possibly need a patron. There's
Well,
always Martin, though I understand he's quite wrecked at the moment as well. Possibly not the best choice.
Martin claims he owes, but he is less than reliable. But that is the state of the world. Perhaps you have not been without money for very long to realize that that is the case. If you do not have it, you need someone who does. Otherwise, you starve. And the children go untaught, and the dogs go unfed. And is that a life you're willing to live with me? It would seem that you would wish to find another and regain the lifestyle you were accustomed to.
Are you suggesting that we break off this engagement so that I could marry for money?
No, I'm simply suggesting that it seemed to me that you were already cooling on our idea of our engagement, and perhaps you engaged in this reckless behavior to give yourself a reason to put distance between us.
I'm just not sure. our dreams
No.
are all the same.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, Penelope, I still consider us very much engaged and would like to continue so. You have my affections, you have my heart. But you do not have my bank account. And I understand, as you have mentioned, that there are certain things you want of life that were depending on that aspect of my situation. And that is no longer something I can offer you.
So this is me stepping out meta for a second. I see her kind of clenching in her skirt the letter from Martin where he made the offer. Okay. And she's considering this, and this seems appropriate that if she actually just mentioned this to Harriet, that there's, or brought this up or offered this, it would be more straightforward. But would she also feel like I trying to figure out if there's a conflict here in to say like that she needs to talk to Sir Martin, and would he be willing to restore his offer to both of us? But I don't know if that's something she would feel like she could present to Harriet without embarrassing her, or I don't know.
I mean, I think it's something you could do, and then we can see how Harriet feels after. It's definitely like a choice you, as Penelope, get to make. Unless you want, like, if you are clenching this letter, then Harriet could like pay a resolve token, or even just offer something to like notice that you have this letter in your hand or something, if you want it to be sort of taken outside of your character's decision.
Actually, I see it as setting up a major decision between Penelope and Martin,
Cool,
that she
cool.
has to present an offer or an acceptance or a demand of him.
Cool. Sounds like a pivotal moment.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So what you will do is you will take a fortune point, which is in the like yellowish golden color underneath the
Yep.
resolve tokens. And then in the rumor and scandal tab, write a future tense like statement like that represents basically one of the directions your future might go with this moment. Like, what is it going to change about your fortunes? And then in our next rumor and scandal phase, we can then just treat that as a rumor. So it could be something like whatever. And I'll put like an asterisk there to separate it from the other things.
I feel this affects Harriet as well, so I want Harley to agree with the concept. So let me write what I'm thinking and see if it makes sense. So.
I also just kind of wanted to mention at a meta level. So Harriet's mindset at the moment is basically she is waiting for Penelope to say that she'll agree to marry her anyway, so that Harriet can be like, "Ta-da! It's actually not a problem." Which Penelope will probably have some very strong feelings about having been played in this fashion.
And I see Penelope won't say that because she feels until she secures the recurrence of Harriet's fortune, that Penelope can't ask her to marry, to go through with it.
Oh,
so,
interesting. Okay.
So that Penelope is going to basically tell Sir Martin, if you want to make it up to me, you restore Harriet. And that's basically what the demand is. But she can't say that she'll marry him because until she has convinced Martin that this is what he needs to do.
Got it.
So
that's cool.
All right.
Okay. Good. The reason I was mentioning that is because we have this. There was this moment where possibly this was going to get resolved way too neatly, and that's boring.
Exactly.
So,
that's why I was looking for the reason why.
Okay.
It's not
Awesome.
Yes, you want me to say this, and I'm thinking I shouldn't say this because I have to help restore your fortune first. Because there's no way that I can provide your lifestyle that you need. So I need to find somebody who can. So, all right.
Also, we have monologue tokens if anyone feels the need to expound or ask others to expound.
Okay. I don't know, something like that, but I'm not sure how to say it.
I think that looks good. It's basically saying Penelope will take Martin's patronage in order to restore Harriet's fortune, and so when it comes around to rumor and scandal, we can basically give that more power, and that could be a direction that Penelope will go. But in the scene, Penelope is like clenching this letter, and Harriet is talking to her about whether or not they're going to get married. Is there anything, are words spoken, or do we want to like cut it there?
I actually like leaving it with Harriet wanting to hear what Penelope wants to say, and Penelope wanting to say something clearly, but completely shutting down and not saying it.
Mhm.
And and they both are making assumptions about what the other is thinking or wanting, but they are, and Penelope has the kind of very stiff and awkward "thank you" and "good afternoon" and I hope to see you again soon type of thing, and leaving the garden without letting Thomas escort her out.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, Harriet is poleaxed by that. Okay.
All
Are
right.
we still engaged? I'm not sure anymore. Huh. That did not go the way I wanted.
All right. We haven't seen the Reverend in a while. What scene would the Reverend like to see?
Well, I'm not sure actually. That's a good question.
You did mention talking to Harriet, so you could talk to her, or
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what would be.
Well, right after the Penelope scene, Harriet is in a particularly peculiar frame of mind, so a meeting could be particularly fun between her and the Reverend.
Awkward.
Super awkward. But why else do we role play?
Exactly.
it's true. So we can be awkward in roleplay when we are also awkward in real life. For some people.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe we could have like yeah. Maybe Harriet does pop into the vicarage for tea following that discussion with Penelope.
Yeah, I could see
If
that.
that
That maybe
works for you.
Harriet goes for a walk to clear her head and finds herself at the vicarage. And, once you're there, might as well say hello.
Miss Strafford, it's good to see you again. I'll ask. He'll sort of call in the housekeeper and ask her to get them some tea. Please do. And he'll kind of, it is kind of in the sitting room there. He'll sort of take like a stack of books off of the off of an armchair and say, "Please do take a seat." And he sort of piles the books up on a desk.
Yes, thank you, Reverend. I found myself at loose ends today and thought of your kind letter. Are you sure this is a good time? You're not
right.
otherwise occupied? She
well, I always have time for my parishioners.
She goes to sit down and then stands up suddenly and takes another small volume off of the seat and stacks it up with the others.
So yes, as I say, I hope you've been settling into the town again, into the village again, all right. I mean, as I say, nothing that much has changed since last you were here, but
Yeah, I mean, some changes, some changes. Um, oh, your son at school then?
yes, he's doing quite well, I think. Well, a little lively, maybe. Getting up into all sorts of scrapes, but otherwise, he seems to be doing quite well. I think quite well.
Well, I was about to say something that I turned out fine, and I always was getting up into scrapes, but, well, perhaps I didn't. So there we are. No doubt he'll turn out better than I did.
I can scarce believe that, Miss Strafford. You always seem the very model of decorum.
Oh, it's kind of you to say so. The lying is not befitting of a reverend.
Perhaps you are right, but well, is there anything I may help you with while you're here?
Oh, I don't know. Not quite sure why I came. I think perhaps I do have a gambling problem, just not one I thought I did.
I see it. It is certainly. It is a problem that affects many people. I think something about the risk, I suppose.
Or possibly just uncompromising. I want everything to be just so. And of course, nothing is quite just so. My terms are
Indeed.
no terms, I suppose.
Indeed, there is very little perfect in this world. Merely what we can merely aim for it, if not ever actually achieve it, I suppose.
Does your family still hate me?
Hate may be too strong a word for it, though. Yes, my mother still, I will confess, does have some the occasional unkind word to say about you.
I should have thought that the marriage and the son would have erased certain memories, but apparently some
Indeed.
things linger. Small towns never forget.
Yes, that is very much the way of things, I think.
In her defense, I did treat you quite shabbily.
We were both much younger then.
True enough.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long ago was the relationship between Harriet and Arthur, and this Tristan recognize Harriet? Because he's 10.
So I was role playing that their old flame ship was before Arthur's marriage.
Okay.
So this is, and if Tristan's 10, it would have been at least obviously 10 and some number of years before that.
All right.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, I don't have a feel for if you decided when Arthur's wife had passed away.
Not particularly, probably when Tristan was still quite young, but other than that, no, I didn't have a specific amount of time.
All right.
In mind. Yes, it was a terrible shame about Tristan's mother, but well, I have the he's a good lad, and I certainly wouldn't give that up for the world.
Did I meet him the other day? Was he in the parade of children and dogs?
Yes, I believe he was wrangling the bloodhound.
Oh, the bloodhound. Remember the bloodhound. Oh, and his handler had red hair. There we are.
Yes.
I should have guessed from the ginger.
Quite so.
Are you happy then with the way things turned out?
I think so. I perhaps ought to find someone to. I do my best for Tristan, but I wish I could provide more for him. He deserves. He deserves someone else who can be there for him and a good future. And I'll do what I can, but well, I'm sure it will all work out.
Yes, I've been recently told that educating children can be quite expensive.
Indeed. And have you had any further offers of marriage since we in the years since? I haven't seen anything in the society papers, I must say, but I also do not pay that much attention to them.
I have actually. Well, that's the answer. Yes, I have.
Well, as you say, your conditions, I'm sure, are most exacting. But I do hope that you might find someone that you could be happy with.
Thank you. I hope the same for you, assuming that's what you want.
Yes, I think I.
Oh, Maria says someone has to spend a monologue token on you. So
You don't have to, but I really wish
it's
I
kind
had
of
a token.
obvious. Someone ought
I
to.
can do it. So is this the idea?
I keep forgetting the mechanics of this game. But yeah, this seems like a time.
So is this a way to force us to understand Arthur's internal?
Yeah, you can
thought
attach
process?
a question that's specific to it,
Sure.
or you can just say about the conversation, whatever.
Sure.
I think just check. Harriet wanted to.
Oh, were you going to do it, Harriet, or what?
We're all
I
going to
think
have to use our monologue tokens before the cycle is over. So we also have a
I'm
passage
happy
of
to use
time, I
mine.
suppose.
Sure.
So that's I have a checkbox here, and I'm just clicking that.
Yep, and I will mark the yes under Arthur. You can always say no if you don't want to.
Okay.
No, that's cool. I'm happy to. I'm happy to do that.
Right. So, yeah, I guess I would say my question is, tell us everything Arthur is not saying right now.
Yeah. So I think the Arthur is angling to see, if perhaps Harriet might still be interested in him, even in her, as he believes, straitened circumstances. He thinks there still might be something that could work between the two of them. It's probably not the most it's not like a burning passionate romance from him, but it is more practical. I think that they are two unmarried people, and that it might be a good a convenient solution, I suppose, is perhaps the way to put it. But and maybe he might be more drawn to a sort of something more what's the word, more passionate maybe, but at the same time he's sort of in as nice a way as possible willing to settle for just a relationship that just sort of works.
Token well spent.
Yeah, so continue on your conversation if you'd like, or if you think that it is petering out, we can also.
I kind of feel like I've got mostly what I want out of the conversation, but I'm happy to continue if there's anything else that.
Yeah. Harriet, I think, is blurting everything she's going to blurt, and is probably going to move on to, amicable but not nearly so charged topics after this. And I expect they spend a lovely time having this cup of tea together. And
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so I think we probably have maybe 1 or 2 more scene space left before we're almost done with today's session. It sounded like maybe we should see Penelope and Sir Martin potentially before the passage of time happens, if that is something that you would like to see. Are there any other scenes people really want to get done or something?
No, I really do think Penelope and Sir Martin need to have a chat.
All right, we can do that. I think maybe this is going to happen in Sir Martin's large mansion, which is not disguised to be poor. It is probably actually more ostentatious than it should be, considering that we are new money. We're trying to show the world that we have the means to support ourselves. And he has Penelope is probably let in to an opulent sitting room with brocade, blue brocade and gold thread embroidery. And then I think Sir Martin will let himself in and stand in the doorway.
He probably sees Penelope sitting there, and just as she notices a muddy paw print on her skirt, she's trying to cover it up. And because she's feeling a bit out of place in this opulence. And when he comes in, she stands up rather abruptly. And thank you for seeing me, Sir Martin. Do you have a moment to address our futures?
He'll cross the space between them and say, Mr. Rosewater, Penelope, we used to be friends. Do you have to be so formal with me?
It would, if it is your hope that we can return to the informality and the friendship that we once held, then can we have a very serious discussion? And would you allow me to broach decorum?
Of course. And he gestures towards the chaise lounge. I never say these words out loud.
Yeah, you read them, but you never say them.
Yeah. Fancy couch thing.
So
Um,
I kind of see her staring out the window like, you know, the rain has stopped from earlier and it's actually nice, but some reason the sunlight coming through the window is harsh and cold and it's not where she wants to be. And she kind of pulls out the letter and she says, I want to understand your seriousness of this offer. And do you wish to redeem your former status? Are you serious in asking how you can repay?
you know, I am, well, mostly serious about most things, but in this, I am entirely serious. It's too small of a town for us to not speak.
What I may ask you may seem incredibly I don't even know how to say it. Just out of the ordinary doesn't serve it well. But
I am out of the ordinary.
no, what I'm going to ask you.
Ah,
And if you provide it, that may be a question about how comfortable you are with stepping outside this. But you seem to have recovered your finances since the mishap with the horses.
my father was generous enough to advance me some of my inheritance.
And yes, I understand that he is watching to see how well that moves forward. And do not pretend to understand the ways of the wealthy. But if you wish to repay, my request is that you do what is necessary to make our mutual friend, Miss Strafford, whole. Because it seems that she has fallen upon some very difficult times, and it is her that I am most concerned with.
Oh, it's Harriet. She's always getting herself into trouble and picking herself back up. You want me to do a favor for her in order to win your friendship?
I believe that perhaps she overstepped her normal adventurous adventures and has put herself into a more dire circumstance. And yes, it is not a life I wish for her. And I believe that that only you and your connections would be able to resolve this for her. And I would take it as a personal favor and a great repayment if you were to provide.
Miss Penelope, you are clearly too kind-hearted to not ask anything for yourself. I'm an Ellersby and can provide you with anything that you might want. And yet, as a repayment, you want me to do something for someone else. How are you so angelic?
This is not angelic. This is important.
Well, I suppose if this is the only way for us to be friends again, then I should do it.
And if you would ask of me a service, I understand. But it is important that your favor to her remains without mentioning my name.
I see. So you want me... Well, luckily, Harriet and I are good friends, so I can always just spot her a bit of money here and there. Well, I don't fully understand what it is between the two of you that you would ask this of me. But, well, I suppose I'll do it.
I mean, she is dear to me, and I would see that she is restored.
I wonder, my dear Penelope, what exactly it is that lies between you and my dear Harriet. Perhaps I'll have to ask her a few questions when next I see her.
Says, and I don't know if that would be an aside or whatever, but it would be the, Penelope saying, and I as well wonder what is between us, but kind of like one of those quiet little aside moments.
Camera turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think, at least for Sir Martin's part, that's probably... Oh. Harriet, you already spent your monologue token.
I know, I'm pulling your trick where I'm suggesting someone else spend theirs on you because I'm out.
Well, let's see if anyone takes you up on that.
Oh, actually, I'll do that if I'll spend that if the idea is to see what is Martin really thinking about the whole situation.
Sure.
All right. So how do I do it? I just unclick mine.
Yeah,
and
just
then...
unclick, and then I'll just
Sure.
click mine. I could also do all of the clicking since I am facilitating. But I think Martin has been like leaning in, kind of trying to like read Penelope's face. And I think he thinks that she really is like too good for this world. And so he really does sincerely want to be her friend and want to have that source of goodness in his life. But, and I maybe like in the past he may have considered her romantically potentially. And so like this whole thing about her wanting this for someone else, it makes him wonder if Harriet is hiding something from him. And they're best friends. They should share a lot of things, if not everything. So I think he senses that there's just something that he is not being told, and it's just he feels disconnected from his best friend and from this person who used to be his friend, and he's worried that Penelope is poisoning his best friend and taking her away from him. And I think that's that. Do you have anything else you want to see from the conversation between Penelope and Martin, or we just like fade into awkward?
Yeah,
talking?
I think that, I like the fading, like he's thinking that as she's leaving, because he told her what she wanted to hear. So
yeah. Yep. Okay. And I think, unless someone has something that they really want to do, that will end our second novel chapter. Which means we will go into, let's do reputation. And then I think that will be after reputation. I'll talk a little bit about inner conflicts that we can set up. I should unhide some things. And then we'll do stars and wishes and end the session for today. Okay. So This is the same thing as our last reputation. Look at your family background and your reputation criteria and figure out whether, based on our epistolary novel phases, your character acquired a positive or negative tag, or both.
Instructed someone of a higher rank.
Yeah, I see kind of both happening in that situation with Martin, in that there is the positivity of her a seeming selflessness and position, and taking a favor and turning it in the direction, but also there's also his suspicion of that maybe she's more devious than he thinks. And so like I kind of see both those things came out of this.
Okay. So you would write yourself a negative tag and also a positive tag.
I think Harriet is getting a negative for acting on a desire in a way that compromised her duty or morality.
All
The way
right.
that she's been playing Penelope. And that's my third negative.
Yeah, I will talk about that once we figure out if Arthur and Martin are also taking other. Let's see. What am I getting? There's really no one here of higher social status than myself. So, like, this is a struggle. I can't ever get that reputation criteria. Unless, like, Lady Beatrice, potentially.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm possibly a positive tag for acting in the service of duty or morality in a way that compromised your desires / acting in obedience to society's conventions. As I think, Arthur has mostly been just trying to play the role he's supposed to rather than acting in his own interests.
That sounds
so
good.
yeah, I might
Okay.
take one for that.
Yeah. I think I am going to stay neutral again. Yeah. And so for our two players who now have three tags, if you look at your character roll sheet, which is 2A in the PDFs, you have reputation conditions. And so when a reputation condition is hit with the third tag, we immediately frame scenes or vignettes that talk about a condition. So if you look at like the tutor, for example, there are like an equal on the negative reputation conditions, you can either have of no importance or probation, which is you're considered, which like the descriptions are there and you can pick which one you want to see. And for like the new arrival, your conditions are great offense or fracture. So you can pick which one of those will affect your character until you spend one of the negative tags as a resolve token to remove that condition. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry, I was muted when I said
Okay.
that. I was just saying we haven't really played up the employer-tutor relationship at all.
Yeah.
So,
if you wanted to, we could like put a little bit more into that, or we can do of no importance.
what if the of no importance was somewhat self-imposed in that she feels she has to leave Martin and Harriet alone to deal with all this rich money hoity-toity stuff and let them resolve it so that Harriet is happy again and Harriet has her fortune back and that type of thing before Penelope can...
I think we could work with that. I think with like the way this sounds is it is a more like against your character thing a little bit, because it is you are considered beneath the notice of good society. Right. Your attendance at social events is viewed as awkward, unnecessary, and unfortunate. So it would be something that society would be thinking about Penelope when we have like a ball or another festival or something. But I think it could be both, maybe. Like,
I mean, I like it. I'm just trying to figure out how it plays into this.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we have like a brief vignette or a scene where like maybe there's another like small gathering of people, and because society looks at Penelope as sort of being below everyone else, a lot of the town gentry like don't want to interact, and then also because she's thinking that she needs to leave Harriet and Martin alone, it just feels very like isolating for her.
I mean, it could be that where like perhaps Lady Beatrice, is holding some kind of gathering of wealth, and of course she invites her, and could be that Harriet even reaches out, or even Martin, and so she's there, but it's completely awkward and uncomfortable, and she doesn't think she should be there, and they don't think she should be there, and she's trying to hope that they can resolve, and that Harriet is back in good financial graces and that type of thing. That's what she's obsessed with. So I can see that.
Yeah. Do you want to go into a scene of that, or are we okay with just saying that this is sort of what that looks like?
I'm happy with saying that's just what it looks like.
Cool. And then Harriet.
Sorry, I didn't actually hear what Penelope decided. I was
That's it.
caught up in.
We decided on of no importance. I'm just typing that in the thing so we'll remember. So we sort of framed a scene about, I guess, Harriet or Penelope, if you want to explain from your perspective, since this is your reputation condition.
I guess I kind of see it as that there is a shift in terms of, Harriet's old stomping grounds of the rich and the famous, and Martin and she kind of trying to regain their friend, or build on their friendship, and the drive to get her back her fortune, and Lady Beatrice, who is also wealthy, kind of bringing people together of wealth in the area, and of course Penelope is kind of connected with all of them and gets pulled into this, but she's completely out of place in that scene and scenario, and like she feels out of place. She doesn't even really want to be there, but at the same time like feels she has to. And I just like seeing it being a super awkward type of situation, because she's also trying to hope that Martin will help Harriet without bringing her into it, and she thinks she knows what Harriet wants, but she doesn't. So she thinks she's trying to help out Harriet, but and give Harriet what she thinks Harriet wants, but it's wrong. So it's just like awkward all around.
Okay. One of the reasons I wanted to know was because I'm torn between Great Offense and Fracture. I think if I picked Fracture, the only person who I think actually has full insights to her behavior is Thomas. So her manservant could be giving her the silent treatment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I could go Great Offense, and the only person I was really thinking might be appropriate for that was Lady Beatrice. If she knew of the secret engagement and thinks Harriet is toying or not behaving appropriately, though that has an aspect of your actions are offensive to someone of local importance, and they mean to make it known publicly.
Well, I love that one because it could be that's why Lady Beatrice was hosting this and hoping that you would, redeem yourself, because I could see that Penelope went to Lady Beatrice and confessed all of this, Harriet, like from her perspective, Harriet doesn't want to marry me anymore because she's lost her fortune, and until we get this back and we restore her, before for her to be happy. I mean, she's completely misreading this perspective, but that's what she would have told Lady Beatrice, and that her greatest wish is to see Harriet restored, and probably not even trying to ask anything of her, but she would have said all of this, and so Lady Beatrice would have whatever she makes of it.
Yeah. What does Lady Beatrice think about this?
And if that's the fracture, that's what she thinks of it. So,
David, since you're playing Beatrice, do you have input?
Yeah. I think it might make sense if Lady Beatrice thinks that Harriet is toying with some
Penelope.
on Penelope. That would make sense.
Cool. So I will just type in fracture.
Great Offense, I believe is.
Oh yeah, sorry. Great Offense. Words. I'll copy and paste in the description. Okay. So I think just for time's sake, we could, if we want to, frame a scene maybe in the next round, next session. But for now, we'll just type that in. All right. So before we sort of end for the day, I just want to introduce inner conflict so we can, if we have space in our brains when we're done with this, potentially think about that. And oh no, did that work?
Yep.
What did you last hear me say?
So you were about to explain, I believe, what we were going to do next.
Yeah.
Inner conflicts, I think you said.
Yes. Okay. So inner conflicts are basically, there are two wolves inside of you, and they are fighting. But these are like struggles that will push your character into different directions. You can think about this as things you want to explore in the next cycle, and in the passage of time. So it could be like duty versus love, or family versus your own ambition. So these are things that you will put in the inner conflict boxes underneath your reputation conditions. And in the passage of time, you will be able to frame scenes around your inner conflict, to kind of, what is that struggle that you, as your character, is facing? And these are like short phrases or one word things.
So, like, if I have an idea about this, if we're going to go into a passage of time aspect too, like I see maybe Penelope in her kind of dogged way. She needs to go find a job. She needs to find somebody to tutor and to focus on that, to earn money, to earn her place, because she realizes, like, she has to be able to contribute to this. And so, like, I see her, instead of like going to Harriet with this, she may find herself drawn into distancing herself fully as she begins tutoring somebody in the next town over or whatever it is. And so it's kind of like her duty versus relationship aspect. And I'm not sure exactly how to phrase that, but
yeah, like duty versus relationship is a simple way to say that. Kind of like career versus desire. I'm not sure exactly. We can workshop the words.
like career versus desire. I like that.
And if you can't think of one right away, we also have the start of our next session. Because I can't think of one right away. So I will say this thing to give myself time. So I think for now, that is our time of playing. And we won't click on things yet for the boxes. We'll do that in the passage time and in upkeep phase, which are coming up. So at the end of the session, I think we'll do like a quick debrief of stars and wishes so that we can kind of see what we really liked and things that we want to see in the next session. So a star is, you can give one or a general one or whatever, things that you liked that another player or character did. Yeah, like favorite scenes, etc.
Well, I'll say right off the bat that Harley brought Harriet to life amazingly well. Like she just immediately came, like she is a full fleshed out, interesting character that with great personality, and like her, I like when she's on screen, it's kind of like
yeah,
everything really moves, and I enjoy that immensely. So
Thank you.
I think I've got a star for, I like the conflicts that Penelope is facing and how it's like brought up in like the scene with Harriet with like the letter in her fist, and just like those small details. I've really enjoyed seeing like that conflict be played out kind of cinematically because it's easy to visualize. So that was really cool.
like it.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I think I'd particularly like to give a star to Maria for I think you've done a really good job of facilitating this, getting everything moving, managing it all. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. It's been a good fun session all told. I think everyone's stuff's been great, but yeah, thank you for kind of setting it up and getting us all moving with it.
Yeah, I like your little chat asides. They're great.
I think some people here know how I can chat sometimes on the side a lot. It's harder to do in like facilitating though. Let's see. I think so that's stars. So wishes then are things that we hope to see next time. And this can be like specific things or just like general things. So like I guess for me, I'd really like to see I start saying that sentence and then I run out of whatever it is I really want to see. So if anyone else has like something off the top of their head.
No, I mean, as well for a start, I've just had like a splitting headache all afternoon, which hasn't been great. But so I hope to be feeling a bit better and like a bit more on tomorrow. I feel like I've been a bit out of it today, so apologies all for that. But I definitely want to just try and get a bit more of a handle on Arthur and get him kind of involved in stuff a bit more, and try and get some cool stuff like that. But yeah, nothing in particular. But no, just see if I can get a bit more drama going on there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sorry you got the headache. I know how those can be. And I wondered about that. I felt like my character had definite connections with Harriet and Martin, and I didn't know how to, because I think Penelope is certainly the person who's creating drama in everybody's life. So I just didn't have the chance to
Oh, definitely.
to mess with Sir Arthur yet.
Yeah, so I think definitely give Arthur drama.
Or Reverend Arthur.
Pining.
Well, I haven't gotten the chance to play Tristan yet as your Tristan NPC, so perhaps there could be a scene there.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I think I would love to see pining. I would love to see the more of that, like Harriet and Penelope, like will they or will they not actually get over whatever it is that's going on? Will Arthur find love or, convenient love?
Could be.
That I want more of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Marley. Where both of us realized we were almost too neatly resolving our conflict, and we needed to figure out how to make that go wrong again. So.
Oh, we
That
can
was
come up with
entirely too
ways.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Unless anyone else has anything, we are at 2 minutes before this is supposed to end. So I will let you all go and see you all in the future. Before I stop, is it okay if I post this video somewhere?
Sure.
YouTube,
Sure.
The Gauntlet. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is great. I really enjoy it. And thanks for letting us play together. It's been really fun.
I'm glad.
Yes, thank
We
you.
will
Yeah, this is my
have
first
more
experience with
tomorrow.
my first experience with Good Society. My second is coming up in an hour.
Same. I think I'm in that game again.
Yay!
All right. Okay.
I'm going to go play Marvel superheroes. Talk about a complete just switch of
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Yep.